Okay, so this is the tea robe, and it's made out of recycled tea bags, and it's quite tactile. There are quite a few processes in it. So if I go through the processes first and then why I made it. The first is assembling the tea bag. So there's a whole process of drinking the tea, emptying the tea bags, washing, drying them and ironing, and then assembling them. So they're stitched together in panels, and then I have assembled the panels and screen printed over the top with a foil, and then which gives it the iridescence, and then also attached some beads. The flowers are representative of the Camellia sinensis, which is the tea plant flower. So it's a very simple 5-petaled flower. It's very tactile, and the whole point of making it into a garment was so that you're taking something that would normally be thrown away or recycled into something that becomes wearable, and looking at the tradition of drinking tea and just a very loose fitting garment. That's about it, really.
Oh, here I am in the Edge Gallery, and I'm trying to think about how I'm going to start my making today. And for my inspiration, I've bought these items. So this is a doll that was made by Margaret and Susie Fleischman, and I found this book recently because apparently they're collector's dolls. But my aunt, my great aunt, who taught me most of what I know about sewing, along with my mum, used to work for Mrs. Fleischman. They used to make these dolls, and all of her great nieces have them. And weirdly, not the great nephews, because they didn't have many boy ones, and in those days they didn't think boys wanted dolls, and a lot of them have collapsed. And I've been inspired by them. My daughter, who's coming on today, has been inspired by them, and drew lots of images of dolls, and especially these dolls, in her A-level projects. This one here, because what we actually used to like doing when I was a child, with all these skills that were taught by my aunt, was make dolls with my sisters, and which is what I'm sort of reviving partly now in my practice. And this one here, Ratty, was made by my sister Kate, probably when she was about 6, and she's asked for it back, but I could swear she made it for me, and that's why I've got it. And recently I was just looking at these. The thing that I'm intrigued by with this doll is its fingers. If you look really closely at its fingers and how they're made, I'm going to attempt to make a hand for something today. It might be a reasonable looking doll, or it might be an obscure looking aughty kind of doll, like the types of dolls that I've been making since I joined Scene, and we started thinking about a visible thread. So we're playing I've been playing a game this morning as well with my granddaughters, which is Exquisite Corpse, and this one I don't think there was any cheat. There was a bit of cheating on that because my granddaughter gave it back to me and I ended up doing the feet and the head and she did the body. But I love this one. That was, the same thing happened actually. Nia, the youngest one, who's 3, ended up doing the head and the body. She said, the head's going to be a triangle. And so then it was my turn and I thought, well, I'll do a circle then. But in actual fact, her triangle was really small and then she did the feet. And then Gwen completely cheated and drew an animal because she's 6 and she liked the logic of it not being crazy. So I might use all of these things today with my daughter Eve, who's going to come along, to also explore these kind of family threads as well, these connections between my relations and my ancestors. Making those kinds of invisible threads a bit more visible to me. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but we'll see.
This is a sculpture called This Is How We Mend, and it is an old ladder that was found in some ancient woodlands near where I live, and it's basically been rotting in the woods for years and years and years, so it's ancient. And I saw it. And I saw it about 4 or 5 years ago, fell in love, and I decided I wanted to mend it. And what I've done is I've mended it with everything that is biodegradable. So I've used wheat paste glue, I've used beeswax, I've used waste fabric. So all of this is waste fabric, some old string, some bits of curtain material. And the reason I've called it This Is How We Mend is because I'm very interested in the idea of fixing problems with the planet and the environment. So all of my work is about the environment, but also in theory, this could, if I had a big enough one, this could go in a wormery and the worms would be able to break it down, eat it, consume all the bits, lock the carbon away and leave behind just the little steps of the ladder.
Hello, my name is Ollie Bliss. I'm a member of Seam Collective and I am based in Worcester. This is how I constructed my piece, Sanctuary of Emergence. It's an ongoing development based on a previous idea in terms of looking at how AI is influencing our practice and how we can potentially use AI as a tool and to help it make us work in different ways. And I was interested in exploring that idea further. So I'd previously created a piece called Citadel, which was kind of the first alliteration of these images, which I'd used a lot of different AI-based images, collaged them together to create this larger citadel. And then this version is me inputting the image of Citadel as a starting point for the AI to then construct a new Citadel based on the information that I've been given from the previous artwork. I'm interested in how AI learns from prompts that we provide it with and how it becomes more intelligent in what it's producing. And I particularly like how the AI program understood the image of the Citadel and created more depth to the piece and helped spread it out. I physically edited the image further because I felt the composition had too many buildings, so I dispersed it more with some more foliage and trees. So it's really that partnership between the AI information and how, as an artist, you're using your own creativity to make that final image. So that it's really a blend between those two, and I'm trying to demonstrate to myself and to others in terms of how AI can potentially be used as a tool without it taking over our own work completely, and demonstrating that we can use it to push ourselves to be more creative. But in terms of the process, I used the initial reference and hand drew out the image, and then from that I used fabric conditioner to make layers of paint apply onto that, and then from that applied layers of colour in a similar way to the way I was applying the paint. It's similar to the process of printmaking, building up from lighter to darker colours, and because of the scale of the image, it's also looking at the colour combinations and how they work in harmony with each other using an application of colour theory. Similar to pointillism in terms of how individual threads build up layers of colour together and how that creates half tones and gives different hues and shade and tonal values across the piece. Something that's exciting in terms of looking out closely, it's kind of like a party for your eyes, and then the further you stand away from it, you see the sum of its parts as a whole, and I'm quite interested in those aspects as well. The work took 33 hours to construct just the drawing and the painting onto the material, and then I worked for 89 hours on top of that to sew into the piece to make the final quilted tapestry. So end to end, the process took about 24 and a half days worth of work for me to construct completely. I hope you like the final result and enjoy the rest of the show.
Legacy is all about the legacy we all leave behind on an annual basis in terms of textile waste. And it's quite staggering. Everybody in the UK, in theory, creates 3.1 kilos of textile waste a year. And what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to pick that up and feel what that feels like.
Okay. Yeah. It's quite heavy.
It's quite considerable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So in theory, that's you and me and everybody in this room.
Yeah.
And when I have conversations with people, they often say, well, I don't do any waste textiles, which means that somebody's got theirs. I don't waste textiles. So somebody's got my percentage.
Yeah.
So then that is broken down. If you want to pop that down, that is then broken down into 4 different ways of disposing of it. So that's the 3.1.
So that's yearly waste.
That's yearly waste per person.
Per person.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Just one person.
Every year.
And this is all
And
textile
it's dense.
waste.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then this one, if you feel that, that's the amount that goes to landfill.
Okay, yeah, really dense.
Out of that amount,
Yeah.
that goes to
And that's
landfill.
1.7 kilograms.
1.7 kilograms,
So this is
and that,
exactly-
of course, is going to either rot down
Yeah.
and create all sorts of nasty gases,
Yeah.
or it's not going to rot down. It's
Yeah.
going to sit there for millennia if it's made of plastic,
So
which
this
is
is just one for every person.
yeah,
Yeah.
into landfill.
Okay.
That is then incinerated, so that's, put that the right way around, 0.8 kilos
0.8 kilograms.
is burnt, again, going off into the atmosphere. You know, it could be fuel, it could be something else, it could be something else. That is recycled,
Okay.
which is 0.3 kilos.
Yeah.
It's not a huge amount, is it?
No, nothing really.
It's
Yeah.
nothing. So,
Compared
but
to
also
this-
you have to remember that recycling uses energy, so you're going to have to take some sort of virgin energy to recycle that. It doesn't,
Yeah.
because it's a process to recycle.
Okay.
And then this one, this is the little baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's reused.
Okay.
So that's what we want. We want to take textiles and we want to reuse it.
Yeah, but right now it's fat. That's
Yeah.
how much we've got.
Yeah. Now, if you move over here to this bigger sculpture, so that's your waste.
Yeah.
This is something else. So if
Yeah.
you pick that up and read what that says.
Okay, this one
Yeah.
says In addition to what is classed as waste, we also each produce 5.9 kilograms of used clothing for export overseas per person a year.
So that's nothing to do with that.
No.
That's what we think of when we say we're recycling our textiles and we take it to the charity shop.
Oh.
That's in addition. It's nothing to do with that. 5.9 kilos.
So it's that and that, just a person every year.
Yeah.
TTC is a common acronym for trying to conceive, and often during this time, people have a desire to knit something for a possible future child, or if they don't know how to knit yet, to learn. This period of trying to craft can also be hidden, lest it give the secret away of an early pregnancy or a period of hope and trying, however long that may be. Perhaps wanting to keep their beginning crafting attempts away from prying, curious eyes too. How will my knitting be perceived? Is my work good enough? Some people are happy to share their journey, this intermingling of conception and crafting, to talk openly about it, to share their making, to celebrate early pregnancy and discuss any loss. For others, it remains deeply private, a solitary pastime, difficult to talk about, and a long tunnel with no light at the end. The act of making something with a particular person in mind is often how any knitting project starts. You carefully choose the item to make, select a pattern, colours, yarn, and start knitting. What happens to the project when that person is no longer there? If a miscarriage occurs, do you finish the item, leave it to come back to later, maybe to finish for a different future child, as a gift for someone, or abandon it completely? Knitting provides many well-being benefits, and this can be another reason to start crafting while trying to conceive. But what happens when something you do to make you feel better, calmer, less stressed, is imbued with the memory of what you've lost? The thing that you're trying to feel better from.
So I'm Julie, and this is my work, and it's called I Cannot Feel That I Do. So my work, this is a body of work made during my MA, and the work before my MA is all has been to do its response to grief and loss through suicide. So as I moved into onto my MA, I started to find my voice, and rather than the subject being hidden in the way that I was making, it became more vocal. And I discovered that by closing my eyes and touching my body and feeling, I could connect with the feelings that were going on inside my body. And then the marks that I made responded to how I felt. And then I thought about how we live our lives, and our lives are quite complicated, and one thing happens to us and that affects the next thing that happens to us, and it might affect the next thing. So I just thought I'd make my drawings and I'd build them all up in layers. So each layer would have an impact on the one that came next. And then another thing that occurred to me, that some of the things in life I can't control, they just happen, whereas some things I choose. Some are good, some are bad, some I remember, some I forget. So I just thought about these stains, these blemishes that I carry around with me in my life. So I started rolling up fabrics and putting bottles of ink inside and carrying them around and letting them leak. and cause marks that I wasn't controlling, and also choosing colours I wouldn't normally pick. So, so the end result is, you know, fabrics that are stained and marked, some that were just collected in the print room, and then these drawings that I've made, which are a record of how I might have been feeling in that moment. And so it's all about a conversation, how we talk about things that are unspeakable. So they're all displayed a bit haphazardly, how they ended up going up today, like a conversation. The conversation is very spontaneous. Some parts we remember, some parts we forget, and the next day the conversation is different. So that's what my work is about.